Cheers. Celebration. Joy as a spiritual act. Have you ever thought of it that way? Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 229 of our Supersize You annual challenge. All this month, we're focusing on spiritual health and well-being, our spiritual essence, our soul, the part of us that is bigger than what is just here in our physical form. And we're exploring all different topics around this. And today's topic is worship and celebration. Now, to me, worship is celebration. It's celebrating joyfully what makes us feel great, what rings our bell, what gets us alive and happy and juiced up and putting out all kinds of good, positive things into the world. What is that for you? We're going to talk about this today. Worship doesn't have to be singing hymns and a formal proceeding that you go to or a place that we congregate on Sundays. Some people, that is what works for them, and it does give them a sense of peace and joy and love and connection. For others, it has just the opposite effect. I know people that are introverted that the thought of going to a mass or church just terrifies them. And so each of us have to find what feels joyful and celebratory and right for us. Worship can take many forms. If we define worship as joy, which is a great way to define it, by the way, worship can be music, art, dance, any creative endeavor that you like to participate in. Nature is probably my personal favorite. I love just being outdoors and spending time in nature. I have since I was a little girl. Back in the day when I was young and the world was a much safer place. My mom would let me go in our backwoods for like the whole day if I wanted to. I'd pack a little lunch and I'd go exploring in the woods and find all the incredible things that were out in nature. It always made me feel peaceful, at one with the universe, or some, I didn't even know what the universe was back then, but it made me feel good. And so that's what I'd like to do, is spend time in nature. And then I turned into a teenager and I wanted to sit by the pool and hang out with my friends, and we go through all these phases in our life, right? And that's when music became a really big part of my life. Music and art were the way that I experienced joy and happiness and worship or celebration. So art, music, nature, just simply pausing to marvel at the fact that we exist at all. I mean, each and every one of us are an absolute miracle. I don't know if we think about that very often, but think about the fact that we're just alive every single day and that we wake up and we get to have a new adventure. Our life should be an adventure and we should joyfully dive into it. Joy is a spiritual rebellion against hopelessness. I don't know about you, but I think there's probably only been one time or a couple times in my life when I felt hopeless. And I found that the remedy and the antidote to that was to take action towards something that I wanted, something that I loved. There have been a couple times like that in my life. One was when I was super duper sick in my 20s. And another time was after my sudden cardiac arrest. It's like, okay, I'm lucky as hell to be here. So what am I going to do with this life? I'm certainly not going to live it the way I have been living it the last decade or two. Running through my life, never stopping and pausing and appreciating. I was always on, unless I was passed out and asleep. Always running through my life, and the universe was telling me every single day, hey, this isn't right. You're not going in the right direction. This isn't serving you, to the point of my sudden cardiac arrest. And then everything had to change, and I knew it had to change. So what are you going to celebrate today? How are you going to celebrate? Share in the comments below as our action item today how you are celebrating whatever it is you want to celebrate. How are you experiencing joy and love and peace and harmony and all of the positive good things that tap into our soul and spirit on a daily basis? Guess what? We're not going to feel joy. Some people, I guess, do feel joyful and awesome all day long, but the vast majority of us humans do not. So how are we going to go from where we are right now to experiencing more joy in our life? That's what today's topic is all about. Share in the comments below how you're going to do it or how you did it, and let us all learn from one another. That's it for today. I think it's a very personal activity, and so we have to pick and choose what works for us. That's what we're supposed to do with everything, right? Everything we experience, we're really supposed to take it in and say, okay, how does this apply to me? It doesn't, let it go. If it does, well, how can I make this my own? It's like when we learn anything. I've learned so many things. I'm pretty old, so I've had lots of opportunities to learn. And I learned something from somebody and I may not apply it for a decade because I have to mull it over. I have to add more evidence to it. I have to figure out how it applies to me and then decide whether I'm going to implement it or not. That doesn't mean I take a decade to decide and do everything. I'm pretty action oriented, but it means there are things that we're exposed to that we don't understand why at the time, but later on we'll understand because there'll be a lesson in that somewhere for us that will come in handy exactly when we need it. Why does that work that way? I don't know. Serendipity, whatever you want to call it, chance, coincidence. I don't think it's chance and coincidence. I think it's actually, there's a master plan. That's my belief. There's a master plan for each and every one of us. We don't always understand it or know what it is at the time, but it reveals itself throughout our lifetime. All right. If I can help you in any way, reach out and ask. Otherwise, have an absolutely fantastic day. And I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow.